Guys, we're here live, and it's the return of Iceman John Scully.
The Prince of Darkness and Affordable Dentures proudly presents the Iceman John Scully.
Man, who was that young kid in that picture there, John?
Yeah, I remember that guy.
I tell you what, guys, it is my pleasure to introduce back on the Warweek Boxing Podcast, the incomparable Iceman John Scully. Ice, how are you, sir?
Everything's great. All good.
I tell you what, brother. We're a little over 3 weeks removed from your, history-making trip to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season. First of all, I know you didn't want to do too many interviews or podcasts before you went over there. Was that strategic? Why didn't you want to talk to members of the media during that time?
I was just pretty busy, it was a lot, it entails a lot of things, there's press conferences and there's training and there's different stuff. And I just wanted to kind of stay focused on what I had to do.
Well, I tell you what, you guys did a tremendous job and put forth an instant classic like Artur, your fighter, and Dmitry Bivol. Boy, those are two pound-for-pound masters. It was a brilliant, high IQ chess match with plenty of drama, plenty of brutality. And did it play out exactly the way you thought it would?
It was similar. It was, the general idea. I had a feeling it would go the distance. Dimitri's a very good boxer, and he was moving very fast, and it's surprising. Some people might be surprised when a guy's got 20-something knockouts in a row, but I was not surprised that it went the distance.
Yeah, look, I think fans forget that at this level, at the elite level, 2 pound-for-pound greats. And let's just face it, you could plop Artur and Dmitry in any era of light heavyweight boxing, they would do well. Right? They forget that at the elite level, knockouts are very rare unless it's in the heavyweight division, right?
Right, for sure.
And so going into the fight, there were a lot of questions about Arthur's knee and about the surgery. Didn't have a tune-up. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't hear from Mark. We didn't hear from you. Definitely didn't hear from Artur, a man of few words. And so we didn't know what to expect. And then we see the media workout. And it didn't really encompass much. In fact, it really didn't tell us anything at all. Was that by design? And who was in charge of that media workout before the fight?
Was that the one just a few days before the fight?
That's right. Where he was fully clothed with the tracksuit on, and
it was like at an outdoor event. There was a lot of people there. It was almost like a festival. There's music and everything, and they had the ring set up, and one by one, the main event fighters, the 2 main bouts, they went in, and Dmitry. I don't think Dmitry did very much either, to be honest. But yeah, Arthur just, his training was already done, so he didn't really need to do much. He didn't want to make himself, get tired or sore or anything. So we just loosened up. He shadow boxed for like a round, and that was about it.
Well, I tell you what, to help me interview one of the more underrated trainers in all of boxing, I'm gonna invite my dear friend J.R. Bell from the Boxing Source. J.R., how are you, sir?
Oh, doing pretty well. Just been, busy editing photos and stuff like that from over the weekend. Glad to join in here with the trainer here, Iceman John Scully.
Yes, sir. Good to see
I
you.
tell you what, and you know what? It's so let's go back there. First of all, I don't know if you remember telling me this over a decade ago, but you told me that whenever you competed as a trainer or as a fighter in Germany, you said, you know what? It's amazing. The reception there is absolutely incredible. It's like a massive event, almost like a Super Bowl or a playoff game in the NFL.
Right.
And you told me this also. You know what? I don't think I've ever had a better steak than I've had in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I've heard comparable things about Riyadh, Saudi Arabia as well. How was your treatment over there and the treatment of the entire team? And how were your, yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'll tell you, the people were really friendly, like overly friendly. It was the type of thing where I always tell people, I remember one instance I was walking around. I always go and walk around. I check things out. And I was in a neighborhood. And so I wasn't exactly sure where I was. So I just asked a random guy, where's the Hilton Hotel? And he offered to drive me there. He was going to take me in his car. And I said, no, I'll walk. I walked here. I'll walk back. Just point me in the right direction. And he pointed me in the right direction. And then actually a few days before the fight, I think 2 or 3 days before the fight, I got a horrible toothache. Horrible.
Oh, no.
toothache. And I was going to wait till I got home, but it got a little crazy. So I go to a dental clinic in Saudi. I go, they do x-rays, they check me out, they floss it, they check everything out. And afterwards they recommended so they did a cleaning ultimately. And they said, let that sit for a few days and see if it feels better. So I said, all right. So when I went to pay the bill, including x-rays and everything, it wouldn't take my credit card for some reason. They said it needed a password. And I'm trying to explain to them, we don't have passwords. I don't know what you're talking about. So, it was a little touch and go there for a minute. But at one point, the doctor came out and they told him what was wrong. And he said, don't worry about it. Just, it's on the house. Go ahead. And he didn't charge me a nickel. He didn't charge me a nickel. Now, that comes under the heading of things that don't happen in America.
Wow. I tell you what, yeah, because a dear friend of mine, the voice of Riyadh season, Thomas Triber. Yeah, he insists that that's the best treatment he's ever had being in Riyadh season with Turki Al Sheikh and company.
Right.
And so you get to the majesty of the event. You guys are walking out. What were your final words of advice to your fighter, Artur Beterbiev, before he jumped in the ring against his biggest challenge, Dmitry Bivol?
I mean, it was honestly, I think it was something really basic, like stay low and fast jab. That's like a couple things I was working with him in particular. I try not to clog a guy's head too much, so it was something very basic like that.
So it's funny, and looking through that fight, were you a bit surprised that that Dmitry Bivol, when he landed some hard leather on your fighter, were you a bit surprised that he got a little bit greedy at times, and that's when he paid dearly for it? And that it always seemed like Arthur made him pay when he tried to open up. Were you a bit surprised that he actually stayed in the pocket a little more frequently than probably he should have?
Yeah, a little bit, just because I thought, he would go with his nature. His nature is to box and be defensive. But at the same time, I think he understood for the most part that, you're going for the undisputed title. That takes a little bit extra. Like, you have to show extra. You can't just box. And I thought at the end of it, when he was moving a little bit too much, I think at the end, that was probably the difference. Ultimately Artur was showing everybody, even people that didn't know boxing very well, they obviously knew that Artur was trying to make the fight. And I think Dmitry was trying to box and he was trying to win, but he didn't want to go through a lot to win. Like he wasn't necessarily willing to go through everything that he had to in order to win. Where I felt like Artur was willing to go through whatever would come.
I tell you what, brilliant performance, absolutely brilliant performance. James, do you have anything right now before we move forward?
With the bout, I was saying like early in the bout that, Bivol was, at least to me, was trying to send a message in reference to throwing power shots, because you've seen that he was throwing right hooks early there in the bout. But, like in that second half, it looked like, his energy was not quite there, and Beterbiev was able to take advantage of that and overwhelm him in the second half of the fight. And you're seeing there, like, there were instances where, like, it was close to having Bivol either like being knocked down or being on one knee because the pressure was getting too much to him.
Right.
So, that's why I felt like, Beterbiev had that advantage there in the second half of the fight, and that ended up winning the fight for Beterbiev.
It's funny you say that, because there was two instances. One was in the 12th, and the other one, I can't remember, maybe the 7th or the 8th, maybe the 9th. There was two instances in the fight where I said to myself, we got him. Artur's got him.
Yep.
Like, he's going to stop him, I felt like it was coming. It was, the drama, it was just building and building and building. And, he got away both times, but there was definitely two moments when I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, you know what? In the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, now he was there, obviously, in Saudi Arabia, and he thought it was a tremendous fight. He thought both men put forth a gallant effort and were worthy of praise. And it was actually genuinely a successful night for both fighters. Right. And he said he can't wait to see a rematch. But he said he thought, in his mind, the difference in the fight was he thought it was very smart of Artur to close out all of the close competitive swing rounds, so to speak, that could have gone either way, close them out strong, and end with a big flurry in the last 20 to 30 seconds of all of those rounds. And then obviously winning the championship rounds, he said that was the difference in victory. That was the difference in the fight. Was that strategic, and did you guys plan for that?
I mean, we're always going to plan to finish strong, always, no matter what fight it is. Like, that should, you would think that would be every fighter on earth. That would be their goal.
You would think.
You would think. But yeah, as far as, closing out those rounds, it's a similar thing. Like, you're trying to fight bell to bell. And, but fighters know if the round is close and maybe, there's an opportunity. I have 30 seconds left. Probably whoever closes the 30 seconds better is going to probably win the round. So, I think Artur was very aware of what was happening. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so it was the 11th. That was the round that I thought was Arthur's best round. And it was about halfway through the round, and he ostensibly hurt Dmitry. And Dmitry just started backpedaling, wasn't throwing any punches, just was cover-ups, and he went against the ropes. And I thought as well, oh no, this isn't going to end well for Dmitry, because I've never seen a fighter get that hurt early in, and with that much time left in the round, and escape the clutches of Artur Beterbiev. Were you really surprised? Because I know I was. I'd never seen any fighter do that and survive the round with a minute and a half remaining. And yeah, did that really surprise you? Because sure did shock the hell out of me, brother.
Yeah, well, like I say, I mean, I felt, actually, I think I stood up at one point because I thought, I don't want to miss this. Like, this is, it's about to end in the next 10 seconds. but he pulled through. But that's what you got to expect at that level. Like, these guys are
Yeah.
elite, the best of the best.
Yep.
And so nothing that either guy would do successfully would surprise me.
Yeah, I tell you what, great fights. And then here comes the judge's verdict. And were you a bit surprised that now, obviously, you felt that your man won? But we did hear from Mark Ramsey say, hey, you need a knockout to win. And I think that was the 9th that he said that, between the 9th and the 10th. Were you a bit surprised that the judges saw it in favor of Artur Beterbiev, being as candid as he possibly can?
Well, one of the guys had it, by a wide margin, right? And a lot of
8
people,
rounds to 4. Yeah.
Right. Now, and a lot of people are mad, but I get it. Like I'll give an example, a comparison. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he fought Hagler, everybody said, well, I can agree with the decision, but that one judge had it 118, 110 for Ray. And I see, yeah, it's a little crazy, but by the same token, it's really not, because if rounds are really close, they're on like a beam, they're on a balance beam. They can fall one way or the other. They just happen to fall in that judge's eyes, in that direction. So, it's not so outlandish as people may try to paint. I don't think they're really thinking it through. It could be a super close fight. Like if you had a fight 120 to 108, 12 rounds to nothing, you would say that guy wiped this guy out. He trashed him. But it might have been 12 super close rounds that just happened to go in that particular direction. So I think the wide score is a little misleading in that regard.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And I always point to Edwin La Bomba Rodriguez versus Will Rosinski on Showbox. That was a 10-rounder. And Edwin La Bomba Rodriguez went to war with Will Rosinski. And it was a clean sweep on all 3 judges' scorecards, 10 rounds to nothing. And Will and company, they were screaming bloody murder. The highway robbery. But you could indeed make a case for Edwin eking out every single one of those rounds.
Right.
And so I think people make the mistake of thinking that's a barometer for how competitive a fight is. But
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't have to give the guy a round. Like, if he loses 3 in a row, you can't just give him the next one, even though you thought he lost. You can't give it to him just because he lost 3 and it looks bad. Like, if he lost all of them razor thin, then he lost them all razor thin. It's a great fight. It's a competitive fight, all of that. But it was a whitewash on the scorecard. So the scorecards can be misleading in that regard. The same way a 1-point fight could be misleading, and in the same way in reverse.
Indeed. I tell you what, though, so once again, your man comes away victorious, becomes the undisputed light heavyweight champion by way of split decision. And then come the screams of robbery, right?
Yeah, I think it was majority.
I'm sorry. Majority. That's right. One of them just scored a draw, correct?
Right.
That's right. Majority decision. My apologies for Artur Beterbiev. He becomes the undisputed light heavyweight champ. Once again, did you think that was just it? Are you sick of fight fans screaming robbery when it's a really great competitive fight between 2 behemoths? Do you think that's a bad look for the sport? Because we should know better.
Yeah, well, it is, because people don't really know what they're saying. Like, when they say robbery, I mean, Roy Jones against the guy in the Olympics, Park Si-hung.
Oh, yeah.
That was a robbery. You understand? That was a robbery. That was the worst decision ever in the planet's history. I thought Chavez and Whitaker was a robbery, right?
Oh, yeah.
Certain fights, they're robberies. A close fight is just because you thought a guy won, or you wanted a guy to win and you thought he should have got it, doesn't make it a robbery. A close fight is not a robbery. It's an oxymoron. It goes against each other. A close fight cannot be a robbery.
Yeah, and once again, as fans being the real bosses of boxing and being the predominant ambassadors of the sport, they should know better. It's a bad look, and if they scream robbery, casual and mainstream fans who don't know any better they're gonna assume that it's rigged.
Right.
And it's a terrible look for the sport. So guys, learn from this and do better. James, do you have any comments on that, brother?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of like discussed this a couple of times, and I brought it up in like previous conversations when it comes to scorecards. The judges have a different view of what's going on in the ring than a lot of fans do when they're watching it on TV. The judges don't have those multiple angles that, you know, the cameras have that are, you know, either on the ring or overhead or that type of stuff. So a lot of times we see things that the judges don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, you have those three judges. They're at three different parts of the ring, right? So there could be instances in a round of a fight where one judge could see something going on one side, but not see it going on from the opponent. So in a sense, you could see them saying, hey, this guy's throwing a lot of punches and I'm not seeing much back from the opponent, when it could be actually that he's missing those shots and the opponent is like actually doing good on defense, but that judge isn't necessarily watching that live. So he's kind of crediting the fighter that is active with the offense instead of the guy that's, you know, doing the defense, because he doesn't have that great angle to see that happening. So that's one thing that has to be taken into account in many of these cases when judges are scoring rounds, that they don't necessarily see everything that's going on in the ring if it's at a particular corner or a side of the ring or something like that.
Right. Actually, you know, it's funny you say that, because I've always said, I remember being younger and being surprised. Like I'd be live at a fight and watching it and saw it for the blue corner. Then when I watched it on tape at home on TV, I had it for the red corner. And I said, man, it looks so much different in person than it did being there. And by the same token, I remember being in a fight on TV, USA Tuesday Night Fights at the Blue Horizon in Philadelphia. And I remember at the end of a particular round, I caught my opponent with a really good left hook. So much so that I made a mental note of the round, because I said, man, I want to see this on video later. I want to check it out. That was a good shot. When I got home and watched it, I couldn't find it at first. I missed it because it didn't look anything. It didn't look super effective, but I was in the ring. I know it was effective because I landed the punch and it stuck out to me. But watching it on tape did not have the same effect that I saw in person.
You know, that is a great point, guys. And once again, these judges, unlike most fans, don't have any skin in the game. And they're right there. Now, James or John, talk to us, brother, about you can feel every thud, almost like a kick drum in a rock band, when you're right there on the canvas.
Right.
And you can't feel that at home.
Right. Yeah, like I say, sometimes you'll watch a fight like on HBO, and Larry Merchant will say, you know, like Jim Lampley will be like, oh, there's some good body shots, and you know, you didn't realize they were good body. They didn't look like good body shots, but he's there ringside looking up 10 feet away. He can see better than we can see. So the viewpoint is definitely different. You know, and it's just one of those things. You know, if you see a fight, you know, you might like even Chavez and Whitaker.
Yep.
You know, I had it a robbery. Now maybe some people there had it much closer. You know, maybe Chavez was doing things that we weren't catching. I mean, who knows? But it's just the way it is. It's two different sports. It's two different views.
Yep. And now post-fight, enter Daryl Peoples in the IBF. And I love Daryl. He's a great guy. Yeah. But enough's enough, John.
Yeah.
They're trying to now enforce their IBF mandatory. A gentleman who's 13-0, no offense. I'm sure he's a very good fighter and deserving of every opportunity he can get. But come on. Did the IBF, they're trying to stand in the way, trying to make you guys wait, trying to rob you of another undisputed by enforcing their mandatory 13-0 Michael Eifert. So what is Team Beterbiev? What are they going to do about this?
I don't know. I was so surprised. I mean, they didn't even, it was only 5 days after the fight when I found out what they were doing. And, and no offense to the guy, I'm sure he's a good fighter, but I never heard of him in my life. I didn't know who he was. I'm sure Artur never heard of him. And, and to enforce this, you don't even wait a week. Let the guy enjoy his title for a week. He's still sore from the fight, and you're already talking about the next fight. I mean, come on, it's just too much. And I'm surprised that Daryl Peoples. As a matter of fact, I used to put up on Facebook. I used to say I like Daryl Peoples because he's like the only one of the 4 groups that's not doing all this crazy stuff. And and now here we are. We got this going on. So I wish they'd just give us a week at least. Let it linger for a week.
Now, so what do you think, though, if you had to guess? You guys, and now here are your options, obviously. You could request an exemption, pay some step-aside money. Right. Turkey Al-Sheikh could, and you guys could jump right into another rematch for undisputed. Now, do you think, what is the soonest Beterbiev and Bivol could possibly get in the ring and get that on? Because I know that's what Turkey Al-Sheikh wants.
I would, that was my first thought. Like, I would assume the step aside would be the way to go, especially after the fight. Like, nobody wants to see it. They really don't. Like, they don't. It's going to be a huge letdown if these guys don't fight again right away, in my eyes. So I would think that would happen. We're in November. So realistically, I would hope for, me personally, I would hope for April or May, but I would think realistically probably June or July.
Oh, Chingao, we have to wait that long. Damn it. Because and were you a bit surprised that Turkey Al-Sheikh said, I thought Bivol won?
Yeah, probably a little bit, but I gotta be careful what I say sometimes, but he's not like a boxing expert. I'm not gonna. I don't. I don't know if his opinion,
he's a fan at heart. Yeah, he's a fan at heart.
If like you could say, oh, my milkman thought Bivol won. It's like, all right, so everybody's got the opinion. But that's how it goes. Yeah, but that's just all the more reason to have the rematch.
Or you could relinquish the IBF title. Yeah, and would that diminish the fights in any way, shape, or form?
I don't think it would in our eyes, in my eyes. I don't think it would in Artur's eyes. But I think historically, and the fans, I think fans would be disappointed. Like it's not for the undisputed again. It's a letdown. And I think it'll be a black mark on the sport, them enforcing this. I would think they have to find a way around this.
Yeah. Or you could go through with this, and maybe Artur Beterbiev versus Michael Eifert could maybe revive a once thriving boxing scene in Germany that is now dormant.
Right.
What do you think? Because you remember, and once again, that's why I brought it up. You remember how huge boxing used to be. I mean, that was a big time mainstream sport in Germany.
When I fought Rachigiani, I might have told you this, I'm not sure, but when I fought Rachigiani, I got right off the plane and they brought me to a mall in Berlin to sign autographs at a sporting goods store. So I was, in my mind, I was picturing I'm going to be out front and nobody's going to know who I am. And maybe every once in a while, some guy will know boxing and he'll come over and take a picture with me or whatever. I thought it was going to be a really slow traffic thing. So we get to the mall and we get to the store. It's a huge store. And I see like 50 yards down the thing, it looks like a festival is going on. And I'm thinking to myself, man, after I get done signing the autographs, I'm going to go check out that thing, right? And they go, no, that's for you. Like those people are waiting for you at the festival.
Yeah.
And I go out, and it was like I was Elvis. Like I'm there, and I'm the visitor. I'm not even from I'm the visitor. And they got me up on a stage, and I'm signing autographs, and it was like I was a superstar. So that's how they do things in Germany. Like their fight, even the people who are fighting their fighters, like normally they wouldn't want my autograph, but in Germany they wanted my autograph, like because I was fighting Rachigani. So it's just a different world over there.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that might be something rather enjoyable for Artur, or perception is that he just doesn't want to bother with any of that?
Right. You know, it's funny. Artur has an image, I think, kind of like Drago, in the Rocky movie, right?
Yeah.
But he's actually much more fun and loose than you would think. Like he's got a good sense of humor, and I think on the right day, I think he would actually enjoy something like that. I think he would enjoy interacting with the fans. Surprisingly, because when I first met him, I had the same image of him, like this Terminator. But he's actually much funnier and more relaxed than people would think.
Yeah, you know what? Were you a bit surprised before the fight that Eddie Hearn was talking so much jive, and that Artur actually clapped back?
Yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah.
It really was. Like but he was sitting right behind me. Actually, him and Busta Rhymes were sitting right behind me in the corner, and he was yelling up things to the ring, because you could hear it's quiet at intervals, it's quiet, and everybody can hear what he's saying, and he's yelling to Dmitry, and it was very obvious to me that he didn't even mean half the things he was saying. Like it was obvious that he was just being a troll, and he was trying to be annoying, and he was succeeding. He was very annoying. So it's by design. I would say it's by design. Yeah.
And there it is, just Eddie Hearn, promoter, being a promoter. That's about it. I tell you what, James, would you like to get something on your chest, cut something off your chest at this time, my friend?
Well, I see that you were talking about this situation in reference to the rematch, and if it should be for undisputed or not. I hear what Iceman has said in reference to it. But for me, I mean, we know that these are the two top light heavyweights in the world.
Right.
So, having all of the belts at this point really doesn't matter. At least you had the first fight that was for undisputed. So if the IBF, as they say, wants to still be IBF, and they could, just continue with that, at least for me. Because we've seen this over the course of, years, where you had the IBF strip Tyson Fury after he defeated Vladimir Klitschko, like 9 days after that happened.
Yep.
You've seen them strip Santos Saul Alvarez Barragan on 2 separate occasions. Most recently.
Well, look, I bring this up, James. I bring this up, brother. Look at the guy who's now, no offense to any fighter, because it takes a lot of courage to get in the ring.
Yeah.
But did you see, John, the last guy that Janibek Ali Manilov fought in Australia, who didn't deserve to be in the ring with him, and that was the mandatory challenger? It was a slaughter. It was a one-sided mismatch, and you know what? It's not worth network money, and it's not a good look for the sport. So enough is enough. So once again, it kind of cheapens the title, in my opinion. And I think you're right on the money, James. Enough is enough. But hey, guys, we only have about 5 more minutes with the Iceman John Scully. He's got a skedaddle here at the 40-minute mark. So we're going to do a couple of things, right? Let's this is something that we just came up with, right? Here we go.
Terrible fan takes on Twitter/X.
So look, I don't care what you guys say. I think that's a great Kenyan accent. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh,
So here it is.
That was an excellent kick in that
Paul Bear, God rest his soul. So this is a terrible fan take from a fighter. And it really got under the skin of Nico Ollie Walsh. And so I want to get your take, John. What say you? What are your thoughts on this? All right. And this is immediately post-fight Nico's most recent fight. Okay. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Lopez
Hold on.
said
Okay.
in an
Uh-oh.
interview
It's not letting me play
a few
it.
weeks
Oh,
ago
Chingao.
before this.
Okay, well, looks like we're not going to do that. Chingao. Well, basically, Teofimo Lopez, right? And I've got to get that fixed before we do Ronnie show as well. But look, he stated that Nico Ollie Walsh is only doing this for the money, and he's a sellout, and he's not a real fighter. And Nico Ollie Walsh took exception to that. He goes, man, you know what? Do you really think I need the money? Because do you realize what my grandfather's estate is still worth? Like, we've got, our family has $80 million. I don't have to be doing this. And for you to be saying as a prize fighter that he's only doing this for the money, I'm sorry, what are you doing it for, buddy?
Right.
And why do you keep pricing yourself out of major matchups if you're not doing it for the money? John, what are your thoughts on this current crop of fighters consistently overpricing themselves out or taking the road of least resistance in this era of boxing? And do you think this is a terrible look for the sport?
Well, let me start by saying this. I know Nico Ali pretty well. I've sparred with Nico a bunch of times out in Las Vegas. I've been to his house, watched fights with his father. Really good kid. And he's trying hard. Like he's in the game. He was an amateur boxer. He did his apprenticeship before he turned pro. He's trying to be a pro fighter, just like anybody else. I think obviously the name, people think, because he's got the name that he's doing, but the kid really loves boxing. He really wants to be a fighter. He's trying his best. And, I think Teofimo, was a little out of line there, saying that. Nico, look, anybody's going to take advantage of opportunities that they get for any reason that they get. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. But he is a good kid. He is a kid who trains hard. He's trying to get better, and he's obviously improved in his pro career. So, I would recommend just give the kid a chance. Let it play out. Let's let him do his thing just like we would any other fighter. But as far as the boxing goes, I put up a status, I think it was this morning actually, where I was saying from November of 1979 to September of 1981, that's less than 2 years. Sugar Ray Leonard fought Wilfred Benitez, Roberto Duran twice, and Tommy Hearns, undefeated, plus a couple other guys in between. But those 4 fights in less than 2 years, less than 24 months. Nobody's doing, guys aren't doing that today. There's excuses, and they use the business, and everybody's a businessman. And Floyd, I think, is responsible for that. They're taking his lead, but they're going overboard. Everybody's a businessman now. Now all of a sudden these guys are, they're boxing experts. They know the business and they know the game, and and they go on in Instagram and they become famous, talking crazy about the fights that they're never going to have. It's a different era. It's a different mentality. And, a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard, a pretty boy and all that, but he was a dog, and he was a monster, and he fought everybody, and he was
all-time
a killer.
Great.
Make no
All-time
mistake,
great.
Ray Leonard was a killer. He did the 7-Up commercial, but he's a killer. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and he's different than these guys today. They want people to talk about them, and they want to be on Instagram and everything, and they get one victory. I even had a thing recently with Tank Davis, who I've never met in my life. I don't know him. And I'm sure he's a good kid, basically, and he's a good fighter, obviously. But somebody asked me, if I thought if he retired right now, is he a Hall of Famer? And I was kind of even taken aback, and I'm like, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Like not by the standards that I have, not by Sugar Ray Leonard standards. I mean, come on, like, I don't really know what you're talking about. And and he got mad at me, and he was insulting me and Artur and everything.
Wow.
I'm like, relax, man. I don't even know you. I'm not, and I didn't say anything personal. But you can't be mad at people and because they don't think you're a Hall of Famer. Like, everybody's not going to think that. I would imagine most well-rounded, knowledgeable boxing people wouldn't think if he retired today based on his career. He's had a very good career. But when I think of Hall of Fame, I think of Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns. I'm thinking of them. I'm not thinking of a million other guys who got in, and it's like, I don't know if he should be in. I'm talking about the real criteria for Hall of Fame. Because the fact is, I could tell you 10 Sugar Ray Leonard victories. I could tell you the month and year that the fights were, that he fought.
Yeah.
Sometimes I could tell you the date, the day of the week. The only fight I know of Tank Davis that stands out is Garcia. That's the only fight I go, yeah, I remember that fight. Like, that was, so like the Hall of Fame, maybe he is a Hall of Famer by today's standards, but I'm going by mine. And by mine, it's not an insult for me to say he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And he was mad. And I think people were, there were some people that were mad, but I guarantee you those people are under the age of 30. And, they didn't follow the sport when I was following it, when it was real. And it was, the level of competition and what guys had to go through to become a Hall of Famer was different. Now we're letting everybody in. They're getting in. It's just, it's just ridiculous. And I'm not a fan of it at all.
Oh boy. Last but not least, we know you have to go, John. But have you watched the fight tape back? I'm sure you have, between Artur and Dmitry. And is there anything that you see that you can improve upon in the rematch, in the imminent rematch?
Yeah, there's definitely, there's things I saw that night that I knew we were going to, and I made a mental note of it. I said, when we go to camp again, I have a couple things in particular that I'm going to work on with him specifically to make a better fight and a more clear victory with Dmitry.
And do you think there's anything that Dmitry can do differently?
I don't, only because the two basic options would be to be aggressive or to really box. I think just his best boxing was not quite good enough. He turned it into running. He survived to a large degree because he ran at times. So he couldn't slow down and trade more with Artur. I think he realized he was having no effect. And Artur, it didn't slow down. It certainly didn't stop Artur from finishing like gangbusters over the last 4. So I think realistically, if one guy could make adjustments that would really be better, I think it's obviously would be Artur.
Absolutely. And do you have anything up coming out on the schedule for Iceman John Scully? Any of your fighters coming up that you'd like to promote?
Actually, just this past Thursday in Montreal, my fighter Stephen Butler scored a knockout on a show at the casino there at the Montreal Day. It's like Montreal Day Casino, Casino of Montreal. That fight was on ESPN. He's looking at another fight probably in March again on ESPN. So I'm hoping that we get right back in there. Steven's a good fighter. He's got over 30 victories. He fought for the world title before, and big puncher. And he's exciting, and I think he's going to get another big shot this year.
And there it is. I tell you what, thank you, John. We appreciate that. And 44 minutes in, it just flies by, brother. I hope to have you back real soon, John. It's been way too long, my brother.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you very much.
God bless you, my friend. Guys, and that was the Iceman, John Scully. I tell you what, dude, terribly nice guy. One of the best guys you'll ever meet in this business. I tell you what, James, and you know what? I have to say, man, I can't help it, man. I share a sentiment about Tank Davis. And once again, it's not Tank's fault. It's his handlers. Your thoughts on John's, well, all his commentary on Tank Davis. And do you remember when he was bad-mouthing Artur Beterbiev? I didn't realize that that was all John's doing.
Oh, no. No. Now, in reference to his comments about Gervonta Tank Davis, I kind of see, where he's coming from with that. But he made a great point in reference to the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, his criteria of who a Hall of Famer is usually how it should be pretty much like all across sports, right? Like, they're the cream of the crop. They're, the top of their sport and everything like that, right? Now, the thing about it is that a lot of, whether it's fighters or football players or basketball players, they were able to prove that, right? For Tank Davis, him being a four division champion, or whatever you want to call it, okay, that's cool. Given his resume, there are a number of fighters that are on his resume that have done well after Tank has fought him, right? But you don't necessarily have that career-defining fight in a sense with Tank Davis yet. Like Ryan Garcia, no, that's not it, because that was, basically a money fight. And like, even with the fight taking place, a number of people favored Tank Davis to win that fight anyway, right? So there's that. And for me, I was more interested in Tank fighting Frank Martin than fighting Ryan Garcia, because you didn't really see Tank Davis fighting somebody like a Frank Martin. And when you actually saw that fight, you saw Frank Martin doing what he was able to do for that first half of the fight, and then you see Tank make the proper adjustments in order to win that fight. That's the Tank Davis that I want to see. But
absolutely.
But the thing about it is that as of right now, he doesn't have like how Terrence Crawford has an Errol Spence Jr., or like a Canelo Alvarez has a Gennady Golovkin or Miguel Cotto or whatever it is. Or
and so and you know what, James? And so once again, this is why I always tell fans, I'm like, look, I can't stand the resume argument. I can't stand it, because it's always contingent on fighter availability and who you're aligned with in terms of promoter, because that always determines your opportunities received, how much money you make, fighter availability in your weight class, and your promoter, who you're aligned with. And obviously, Al Heyman and PBC, Floyd Mayweather Jr., always wanted to keep everything in-house, which really limited the amount of options for Tank Davis. And so you look at him, well, in his prime, and he's contemplating. Now, once again, I love Laurent Roach. I think he's the best 130-pounder in the world right now. But do we really want to see that fight? And that's a problem. Yeah, that's a big problem. I know who I want him to see. Right. I know who I want him to see now. Right. After past Friday. But are we going to see it? One. And two.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh gosh. You know what? I can't stand this, man. Because Tank, look, for all intents and purposes, my friend, I think Tank is a top 5, top 6 pound for pound guy, because he can seemingly do it all. And he showed that against Frank Martin. You pointed that out. I didn't realize he was so proficient at taking the lead, cutting off the ring, closing the distance effectively, and breaking his man down slowly but surely. And the way he set up that knockout was absolutely incredible. And he proved to be a complete fighter. And then on top of that, he's got a one-hitter quitter. And so it's like, it's so frustrating. And so I really sympathize with what Iceman is saying. And I can't blame him for being as outspoken as he is, because it's not good for the health of the sport to keep our biggest stars in the dugout, so to speak, right? I can't stand that. But I will say this, brother. I Yeah. And well, once again, all I care about is the health of the sport, guys. And obviously, it's better for the health of the sports to have our biggest stars on display. Now, guys, in just about maybe 8 or 9 minutes, we're going to be speaking with Coach Ronnie Shields. And boy, we've got one heck of a program still left in store for all of you guys. Before Ronnie comes on, is there anything that you'd like to discuss, James? Because you know what? I've got a full 10 factor fiction.
Okay.
I'm even going to engage because there are a couple things that our brother Rick Glazer said last night and today on Twitter that and the only reason why I didn't bring up, I was thinking of bringing up the Twitter watch with Iceman John Scully. But one, we were limited on time. And two, he's not a big fan of Rick Glazer.
Hey, listen.
Well, that's a shocker, isn't it?
No, I was going to say, I guess with some of those tweets that could have been, I can't say it. I can't say it.
Oh, Chingao, dude. Oh,
I can't say it. All right.
Dude,
let's keep going. Let's keep going, please. Let's keep going.
Oh, Chingao. But I tell you what, I do have to ask you this, man. Once again, look, I said this several weeks ago when Eddie first started this feud with Oscar De La Hoya. Clap back Thursday, right? And I said, look, guys, this is all facade. They take digs at each other publicly, but they both have a lot of respect for each other. They both work with the same guys at the same network. This is all to promote the seemingly imminent showdown on February 22nd between Shakur Stevens. Yeah. What did I say? Seemingly imminent, right?
You said seemingly. I say absolutely.
Well, you do. This is boxing. This is the theater of the unexpected, and you never know. I mean, come on. Even though Tevin Farmer at this stage of his career, he couldn't punch himself out of a paper bag, but he's really elusive. And you know what? Raymond Murataya didn't exactly look great against him. And this is obviously chosen for a reason to prepare him for what he may see against Shakur Stevenson, right? Elusive southpaw, guy who's hard to hit. Okay, so this is strategic. This is why they're choosing him.
Great matchmaking there.
Yeah, exactly. And so seemingly imminent showdown. And let's just face it, William Zepeda, he's got the personality of a stick. And then Shakur Stevenson, yeah, he's not doing himself any favors on social media as of late. Calling out Vasil Lomachenko saying, oh, you need to retire. If you're not even interested in big fights, why do you even stick around any longer in the sport? It's like, dude, look, man, shut up, dude. You have no business casting aspersions against a guy who's a first ballot future Hall of Famer, a guy who's done more in this business. And he's a guy who is where's he from? He's from Ukraine. And here you're from Baltimore, Maryland, or I'm sorry, my apologies. Hold on.
New Jersey.
Yeah, you're from Newark, New Jersey. And dude, you couldn't even sell out my living room on a Saturday night. It's like, dude, hey, start putting your opponent to sleep instead of the fans. And then maybe you can cast aspersions to a great fighter like Vasil Lomachenko, right? Chingao. Anyway, those are my thoughts. But look, that's the entire reason why Oscar is feuding with Eddie. It's to promote that damn 5-on-5. And we already knew this was coming. And we're going to talk all about that, guys. Let's play his entrance music, guys, because he is in the queue. And guys, once again, it's a pleasure to always share the air with this elite level trainer, future Hall of Famer, our dear friend, Coach Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, how art thou? So we're already live, brother.
Oh, okay.
I tell you what. Let's guys. So we, because I'm going to edit this out and make 2 separate shows. So guys, we are going live with the elite level trainer, Coach Ronnie Shields.
Dentures proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer, Ronnie Shields.
Thank you, Morgan Freeman. Thank you. And Ronnie, welcome back, brother. I tell you
Thank
what,
you.
always my favorite part of the week is interviewing the great Ronnie Shields along with my brother in arms, J.R. Bell from the Boxing Source. J.R., how art thou, sir?
Oh, I'm good right now since just got some
Oh,
food.
your Chinese just arrived. Okay, got it, brother. Where'd you get this time?
Eat on,
General
man.
So's?
Eat on.
Qingao. Yeah, that's all right, brother. I talk enough for the both of us. It's all good. No, he's laughing because that's exactly what he got, isn't it?
Oh no. This is what beef
Young?
Ronnie or something like that. Yeah, beef Ronnie.
No, Qingao. Look, brother, your nose is growing, Pinocchio. And there it is. I'll tell you
Don't
what,
make
guys.
him turn on the camera.
No. I tell you what, Ronnie, how was your weekend, my friend? We saw some pretty good fights.
Actually, I didn't see anything this weekend. It
Uh-oh.
was my aunt's 80th birthday, and
Wow.
I had to drive down to go see her. So I spent the weekend with her and celebrating her birthday.
I tell you what, you invested your time wisely, and that's much more important. Much more important than seeing a bunch of prize fights on both ESPN and DAZN. And I'm sure you saw the highlights and heard about it, right?
I've seen anything, man. I just been ripping and running, so I haven't seen anything actually.
Well, I tell you what, we'll be the busy life of Coach Ronnie Shields. Well, we'll fill you in, brother. We'll fill you in. We'll do it.
I heard about him though.
Yeah, we'll do it by virtue. Well, look, okay. Yeah, we'll do it by virtue of fact or fiction. Are you ready, sir? Here we go.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
Yeah. Woo! I love it. James, take a drink and swallow your food because here comes number one, my friend. Woo!
Here we go. Keyshawn Davis will take on Raymond Murataya in March of 2025 and face Gervonta Tank Davis in the fall if he is successful. Fact or fiction?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a two-parter?
It seemed like it is.
Yeah.
Well, look, just to let you know, Keyshawn Davis, he just drilled the fat Argentine who came in over 6 pounds over the weight limit.
I did hear about that.
And whooped his ass like a redheaded stepchild in under, what was it, 3 rounds or 2? What was it, 3 rounds?
2.
Oh, yeah, dropping him 3 times in 2 rounds, right?
I did read about this one.
And I tell you what, Keyshawn, in front of a packed house, right? And he's the one who sold all the tickets. And he looked absolutely phenomenal. It couldn't have gone any better for Team Keyshawn Davis, Bo Mack, ESPN, and Top Rank. So they are excited, and they truly believe that a star was indeed born on Friday night. Now, in my opinion, and he's already calling out Gervonta Tank Davis, Ronnie.
Yes,
he's saying, oh, yeah, I want light skin. And he knows I'm his toughest test in that division or any surrounding division. And I want him, and I want to prove that I can hurt him and I can knock his ass out. But Ronnie, be careful what you ask for. Do you think it's time that Keyshawn steps up, and is he ready for the man at 135 pounds?
I really and truly believe he's ready. I've seen Keyshawn plenty of times, and he just seemed to be getting better and better every fight. And I did read about what happened, this past Friday night. And, from what I read, It sounded like he looked really great, and the Norfolk Scope, that used to be our old stomping ground when we was training up there, Sweet Pea Whitaker,
Mm.
and and I was glad, so happy to have read that people showed up and he really showed out. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
a good thing for Keyshawn. The thing about Keyshawn is, man, he can really fight.
Oh yeah.
It's no. He ain't ready yet. No, this kid is ready for anybody. He's just that good. And I really believe he will get Tank a great fight. I,
Absolutely. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie, as you were, sir.
and the thing about it is, can he win? Of course he can win. I mean, but Tank is a hard fight for anybody. But this is what boxing is all about. The best fighting the best. And this kid is willing to put up saying he's the best against a guy like Tank. And, and we'll never know until it happens. This kid's resume is really good. Tank's resume is good. So why not? This kid has proven that he belongs to fight the top guys in the division. So this is what you're supposed to do. When you get to a certain point in your career where everything is up, nothing is going down. So he wants to fight all the top guys. So I think he should.
Yep, I tell you what, Coach. And so here's the biggest problem, Ronnie. Keyshawn versus Tank Davis.
Yep.
It's not exactly a huge mainstream matchup at this time. And this is why I recommended in Fact or Fiction that he takes on undefeated lightweight prospect, red hot, coming off of a huge knockout victory the week prior, Raymond Murataya. Winner moves on and builds this matchup to its proper perspective. And I think this would build that fight to its proper level, and they'd be able to get that huge site fee in Vegas. Because right now, do you think it's a Vegas fight already? Because honestly, this is a huge fight in the DMV area already, but the kind of money that both men would expect, you
Yeah.
kind of want that big Vegas site fee. And I think we need one more fight for Keyshawn, as well as Gervonta Davis, to build that into a superstar matchup. Your thoughts on that, sir?
No, I agree. I really agree with that. I think that, I think the more names that people recognize on your resume, the better it is to sell the fight. And and I think with Keyshawn, he don't have as many big names as Tank does, but but his resume speaks for itself. So maybe in one or two fights, they can really put this in Vegas unless they wanted to do it on the East Coast, because on the East Coast it would sell like crazy on the East Coast.
Oh
But the pay-per-view wouldn't probably be as what they would think it would be, because Keyshawn is not as well known as Tank.
Yep.
So yes, I agree. I think people need to see Tank a little bit. I mean, Keyshawn a little bit more. But he's on a huge platform with Top Rank, and just that alone, it would help it also. So, but I think it's really close though. It's really close that they could make a fight like this on pay-per-view.
I think it's a tremendous matchup. And to be honest with you, Raymond Murataya, heavy-handed counterpuncher, guy who sits in the pocket and likes to slug, but he's a counterpuncher by trade. I think this would be a perfect litmus test in preparation for Tank Davis. And if you can't get by Raymond Murataya, then you've got no business being in the ring with the best 135-pounder in the world. I think this is perfect for both men. I think it's a perfect scenario. And to be honest, if I had to pull out my crystal ball, that's exactly what would happen, brother. Woo! I tell you what, James, are you finished with your hamburger helper?
Oh, that was a hamburger helper.
I'm just
Um,
jiving, my friend. That's right. You turned vegetarian, didn't you?
um, um,
Yeah.
no. I'm gonna talk about this thing here for fact or fiction.
Woo!
I'm going fiction on both, but
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
that's it's only because of me being in attendance for that fight
Uh-oh.
and being ringside and
Mm-hmm.
talking to specific people within Top Rank.
Uh-oh.
So, with that being said, that's why I say fiction on both counts.
Oh my
Definitely fiction on
gosh.
the second.
So what are they looking at then for the future of Keyshawn
Okay,
Davis? Because yeah,
so
let's hear it. Spill the beans, brother.
okay, so
Yeah.
next, if it's not Raymond Murataya, it could be Dennis Barinchik.
Oh wow.
Now,
Wow.
the reason why I say that is because of what was basically on the line in that fight. Now, I know
Oh
that
yeah, it's the
there was
WBO.
supposed to be the IBF eliminator, but
Mm-hmm.
after the fight, you saw who was up there representing their organization with Keyshawn Davis. That was the WBO. So that gave me the inclination that they're angling for Keyshawn Davis to be the next opponent for
Oh
Dennis.
yeah, the WBO, the World Bob Order.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
what Bob orders. So they get that, and he beats Dennis Barinchik to be WBO champ. They may likely give him another homecoming fight with the belt.
That'd be great.
Oh, I tell you what, that's a great. Oh, I tell you what, a unification bout if he gets past Berinchik. But you know what, man, that's styled, man. Oof, he's not going to be like Gustavo Lemos. He's
No, he
not going
will
to come
not.
right at him.
No,
Ivan
he will not.
Berinchik, that's a tricky fight.
Yeah.
Ronnie, let's consult the expert, James. Ronnie, your thoughts on a matchup between Murataya, Keyshawn Davis and Ivan Berinchik?
Yeah, Ivan Berichik, he's been around, so he's a good veteran, and Keyshawn would have to really think in this fight. He would have to really use his wits in this fight because that's a tough fight. But man, I really like Keyshawn. I mean, I really do. I like his attitude. I like the way he handles himself inside and outside the ring. That I think people get a lot of things mixed up. I think when your team starts talking too much and overshadow the fighter, that's
Mm,
when it's not good.
mm.
Let the fighter do his talking. He can do it. He the one who has to sell the fights. So the teams need to sit back and let the fighters sell the fights. And Keyshawn, he sells himself really well. He did this last fight and he showed up and he showed out. And I think that's what people want to see. They want to see these fighters back up what they talk about.
Oh yeah.
And this is what he did. And yeah, his opponent came in way overweight. He could have said, nah, I'm not fighting this guy. But no, I'm in my hometown. I know I'm gonna kick this dude's ass. So bring it on.
Yeah.
And I loved it, man. I did. I loved it.
Yep. I tell you what, that's what we want to see. And you're absolutely right, Ronnie. And I think a future star, it was born on Friday. It was a packed
Oh,
house. They all paid their money to see Keyshawn shine. Oh, and that he did. And I
yeah.
tell you what, he's got the best matchmakers, the best promoter in the business. Hey, man, I can't wait. Future looks bright for one Keyshawn Davis. And congratulations to Bomac. They've done a great job. Now, obviously, you hope to have that kind of pedigree, deep amateur pedigree, former Olympian, guy with a ton of talent, but they've done a great job taking him to the next level, as well as in a collaborative effort with Brad Goodman, Bruce Trampler. Sky's the limit for Keyshawn, in my opinion. And you said it. He's a good kid. Represents the
is.
sport well outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the future is got an unlimited ceiling, in my opinion. But I tell you what, that's the course I want to see. You know what? Ivan Berinchik, Raymond Murataya, Gervonta Davis, sign them up, right?
Absolutely.
Sign
No
them
doubt.
up. And look, And I tell you what. Oh, hold on. Let's say hello to our dear friends in the chat. Hold on. My brother, Toby Bartlett. Good to see you, my friend. And thank you for supporting the coach on this day. Also, my brother Hawker Mustang. Thank you for supporting the coach. And Iceman, welcome to the show, sir. My brother in Christ. Salute to you, my friend. Also, my brother Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. Welcome to the show, sir. Also, my brother Michael Shaw. He says, class in the house. Yes, sir. Classiest guy in this business. Hold on. Yo, Ronnie and James, how much of a bad look is it if Oscar just completely sweeps Eddie with the bad luck Eddie has had the past few fights with fighters losing? And welcome to the show, Tony. Love you, man. Look, and we were talking about this when you were first getting on the show. Ronnie, this is all vaudeville and propaganda to promote the seemingly imminent showdown between William Zepeda and Shakur Stevenson in their 5-on-5. And you know what? It's working. They're doing a hell of a job. Because let's just face it, Shakur and William, man, they're not very good at promoting their own careers, much less a matchup. And I think Eddie and I think Eddie and Oscar are doing a great job. Awesome job. And Anthony, well, you're making Ronnie seem like he's Barry White or Al Green of boxing. Hey, you know what, James? What say you? That's a great. I'll go with that.
Al Green.
No. Green. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I'll say that he's more the James Brown of boxing, the hardest working man in show business. I'll say that. There it is. Toby, what happened to Halftime Pizza as sponsors? Don't they sponsor you anymore, Joe? No, they don't, and I don't want to talk about that. But I will say this. I will plug this. Thank you, Affordable Dentures and Implants. Guys, one location, once again, over 400 locations nationwide, one near you, and they're affordable dentures and implants for a reason. Thank you for sponsoring this edition of Coach Ronnie Shields, Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields. And guys, dare I say, thank you for sponsoring the upcoming Roshi Tour in 2025. Woo! Yep. Thank you, Affordable Dentures. God bless you guys. And you know what? I just want to remind every fighter and every trainer and every manager that they now make mouth guards and gum shields, right? Fitted. So none of this falling out of the mouth shit. None of this your mouthpiece out to gain an advantage. None of that. So there it is. And that's why Affordable Dentures is sponsoring this show as well as all of our upcoming events. Thank you, Affordable Dentures. Iceman says, well, Keyshawn is more known than Martin. Yeah, and look how that pay-per-view did. They don't want to go that route again, guys. Now, Frank Martin's a great fighter. And I thought he put forth a hell of a fight until he didn't. But you know what? How did that pay-per-view do, Ronnie?
I don't know, man, to tell you the truth.
Okay, well, that's a politically correct answer.
I think it did, though. I think it did pretty good. I mean,
it had David Benavidez, but it was disappointing considering you had two superstars in the main and the co-main event.
Yeah.
And so they don't want that to happen again. And so that's why I'm saying, and once again, this is just our knowledge of the business. Then we're explaining this to you, right? Iceman says 350,000, I think. Well, 350,000 minus 200,000, and that's exactly what it did.
150.
Yep, that's it, guys. So once again, for Tank Davis and David Benavidez, that's a little underwhelming. So they don't want to do that again, and that was one of the reasons why Al Heyman and PBC and Tank Davis were really interested in lobbying for a Vasil Lomachenko fight with ESPN, because they don't like those numbers for Tank Davis, especially with as much as he's demanding, right? And Ronnie, we have some promising news for regarding Al Heyman, our friend Al Heyman. He's doing much better from what I hear. Have you heard the same thing?
I heard he was doing better.
Well, he's talking to people now. So that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so he's making plans for the upcoming 2025 year. But guys, still keep Al Heyman in your prayers because a lot of people depend on him, and he is an integral part of boxing in the American market, right? A lot of
Absolutely.
people depend on Al Heyman, a lot of mouths to feed, and he is the captain of the PBC ship. And so, guys, we're moving on to number 2. Big James, what say you, sir?
Jerron Boots Ennis will face Brian Norman Jr. next, rather than taking on Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Ryan Garcia at 154 pounds. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction, because if they do the 5-on-5 thing, he's gonna have to fight Virgil. Simple.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? That would be conventional wisdom, but post-fight, this is what Eddie Hearn had to say. Well, I think we want to go the route to a unification at 147. We want to get another belt before. I think, and I think the reason why he said that was because of how Jerron Boots Ennis, even though he got a wide unanimous decision, fought a great fight, but he struggled at times and seemed to be getting touched up a little bit from Karen Chewbacca, or I'm sorry, Karen Chikatsian. Um, and James, you were live. Were you a bit surprised to see Karen Chikatsian stepping around him and landing that left hook at will when he was in the southpaw position?
Yeah, I was at the fight, and I, to be honest with you, I had never been as frustrated in a fighter as I was that night.
Yeah,
Just being honest.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, it goes to the expectations that I, along with many others, have when it comes to Jerome Boots Ennis. And when you have that type of expectation, you want to see that, be out there in the ring. And seeing what I saw against Karen Chikadzian in this fight was much worse than what I saw in the first fight, because you saw deficiencies on defense from Boots Ennis there, and then also there were cases of deficiencies on offense because he became one-dimensional, especially
Yeah.
after he scored a knockdown in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
Went for the counter, right uppercut multiple times instead of mixing it up. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
go to the body in the second half of the fight at all.
Yep.
And as you said, he was getting caught multiple times with the left hand, which meant that he was having his right hand low, and he also had his left hand low at times too. He got caught with the right hand. So I'm like, yeah, you rely on your reflex, but your hand defense is not up to par. That can't work when you're fighting higher caliber fighters.
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't have broke it down any better than that, James. I tell you what. And so I think that's obviously why I chose this as fact or fiction, because James, from what you saw, and Ronnie, please excuse me, I know you didn't see
Go
this,
ahead. Go ahead.
but James,
Okay.
in your mind, do you like honestly, as much as often as he was getting hit by that left hook,
Mm-hmm.
I think he may be in trouble if he fights Ryan Garcia.
He's not fighting Ryan Garcia. Just being, I'm more of a realist. He's not fighting Ryan Garcia. He's not fighting Brian Norman Jr. Because they have him locked in to fight, Brian Norman Jr. locked in to fight Derek Cuevas. They're
Okay,
redoing
very good.
All
Thank
right,
you for the
so
info.
yeah,
So I guess Ronnie's
that's
right.
how
He's more than likely going to move up to 54 where the money is and face Virgil Ortiz Jr. Oh boy, that sneaky, quick right hand right down the chute.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
That
tough
could
fight.
spell trouble for Jerron Boots Ennis. Coach Ronnie, what say you, sir?
Yeah, it's a tough fight, man. Especially going up in weight when you're not used to fighting at that weight. Yeah, you train at that weight, but you don't fight at that weight, and that's a big difference because those guys fighting at 54 normally come in the ring 15 to 20 pounds heavier,
Oh boy.
and that's something different that Boots haven't had in the ring. Yes, you have it. You have it in the gym. You do that in the gym with headgear, with headgear on and big gloves. But
16
when you got
ounces.
but when you got 10-ounce gloves on and you at that weight fighting guys at 170 coming in 170, it's a big difference. In the power and everything is different. So that's something they will have to really look at.
Well, I tell you what, it's time, Coach Ronnie. Wait, hold on.
Terrible fan takes on Twitter/X.
Yes, and that is the greatest Kenyan accent you've ever heard and will ever hear. Care of yours truly. But I will say this, though, and this is a terrible fan take from a former fighter, Showtime Sean Porter. He said, I've been telling y'all, and I stand by, and you just saw it on Saturday night. Ron Boots Ennis is one of the most overrated fighters in boxing. And yeah, he's not ready for that kind of smoke. Now, this is coming from someone who has always been terribly overrated, in my opinion. A guy who couldn't sell out my living room on a Saturday night, and a guy who got all of the big assignments, even though he wasn't an elite level talent. Albeit he's a terribly nice guy, and I love the Porters. He and his dad are good people. But come on, should he be throwing that kind of shade at Jaron Boots Ennis?
No, not when the guys, look, Boots is an undefeated fighter. He's beat everybody they put in front of him. He's a world champion right now. You can't do that to him, man, because, he wouldn't want nobody criticizing him in his career. So, although you're a reporter, you don't criticize, man. You know what that feels like when people criticize anything about any fighter, especially when you was a fighter. That's the most difficult thing in the world for a fighter to hear, is that other fighters are saying, hey, you got to understand styles make fights, And the thing about it is, Boots, he beat the guy before in this last fight, and then all of a sudden, the guy becomes a mandatory, and now you got to fight him again. And the guy learned from the first fight. Obviously, you saw he learned from the first fight. And not that Boots underrated the guy or anything like that, or overrated the guy. He, this is boxing, man. Things happen. Styles make fights. And sometimes, you run into a style where you get hit with stuff that you would normally never get hit with. It happens, And, I hate it when people who've been in the sport and who've been criticized didn't like criticism. But now you dishing it out.
Yeah, and I kind of got into it with him on Twitter, and I usually don't with anyone. But in this situation, I did, and I said, look, fine talk coming from a guy whose biggest victory is against Paulie Malignaggi.
I was at that fight.
And yeah. Oh, the one, it was in D.C., wasn't it? That was the B-Hop fight, wasn't it?
Yes.
B-Hop versus Beibut Shumanov, right?
Correct.
Beibut. Yep.
Beibut. He was a great guy, but it's obvious. Yeah. He obviously didn't have that hunger and didn't have to fight. Yeah. He's like a prince or part of a royal family, wasn't he?
Yeah, Beibut, yeah.
Beibut's a great guy. I met him through Don Chargan, his promoter. Yeah. But once again, I got into it with Sean. I probably shouldn't have, but hey, man, you know what? Don't be throwing any shade, man, towards Ron Boots Ennis.
Hey.
Come on now. You want to talk about overrated? Look at your own career, sucker. Come on. That's all I'm going to say. Hey. So, look. So, James, do you have anything to add before we move forward?
My thing is, why in the world is Sean Porter criticizing Boots Ennis when Boots Ennis was chasing Sean Porter and Sean Porter said no?
Oh, I forgot about that. Thank you, James, for bringing it up. But look, we threw a terrible fan take in there. Now we're going to throw in.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glazer's Twitter watch. Bang!
Rick Glazier had this to say on November 12th, earlier today at 8:10 a.m. He said this, Coach. He said, been asked this question. Is Boots Ennis father/trainer Bozy Ennis a good boxing trainer? Well, after hearing him in the corner Saturday night, he's probably what I call a teacher in the gym, but not a good fight night leader in the corner. So the grade as a trainer, I would give Bozy Ennis, well, it's an appropriate word, incomplete. #boxing. Coach, is that fair? Because there is a difference now, isn't there?
No, it's a huge difference. I mean, look, trainers have bad nights too. We're human beings. And again, I didn't see the fight, but at the same time, still, we've all had bad nights in the corner, and sometimes, things don't go as you like, as you prepare for these fights, things don't go as planned. Remember the other guy wants to win too. The guy's not there. The other guy not there just to, he might show you something different than you've been looking at on tape. And when that happens, you have to make adjustments in the corner. And sometimes the adjustments don't go as well as you want them. But the most important thing? Winning.
Oh, yeah.
You won. You won on a bad night. The old saying is, an ugly win is better than a pretty loss. Simple.
Very well said, brother. Very well said. Guys, that's nuggets of wisdom right there. I tell you what, look, James, to Bozy Ennis's defense, you did hear his dad. Now, I don't know if you heard it from where you were, but on TV, he was saying, hey, don't switch out of the southpaw stance, go back to orthodox, because he's tagging you with that left. And Jerron just didn't do it.
See? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and he admitted that in the post-fight press conference, didn't he? Oh, give me good instruction. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think Rick Glazier's just being Rick Glazier right now.
Well, the thing is, Rick Glazier isn't the only person that has made a statement of that caliber in reference to Bozy Ennis. So, yeah, he's not alone with that. But I mean, we'll see what happens here, later on down the line. Like I said, I'm, looking forward to seeing what happens next for Jerron Boots Ennis, whether it's against Virgil Ortiz or Ian Montesinonis. But that's a whole other story.
And another thing, I just want to say one other thing. Being an ex-fighter, sometimes as a fighter, right? Speaking as a fighter, that, on Boots' both fighting southpaws, his dad kept telling him to switch to right-handed. But, the fighter sees things sometimes that we don't see. And he maybe thought he could have catched this guy, whether it was a left hand or uppercut or something. He saw something that he thought was probably going to work, and it didn't work. And this is why the father kept telling him, no, go back to right-handed. But again, I tell my fighters all the time, sometimes you're going to see things that we don't see on the outside. You're in there. You see something, then you got to try it. You got to take it. That's just, just speaking as a fighter.
Look, I've heard these comparisons, and I'm just going to throw this by you. Is Jerron Boots Ennis the next J-Rock?
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, boy. I hope not, too.
Nope.
James emphatically says, nope. Very, very decisive and very quick response by James Bell. I'll tell you what, one more, guys.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glazier's Twitter watch. Bang!
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you. He says this, and this was 2 days ago on Twitter. Well, /X. He says this, Bam is great. Bam versus Chocolatito would be a one-sided beatdown now. Not even remotely interesting any longer. #DAZN, #boxing. Are you still interested in that fight? Because Bam he really showed his class, and he whooped that ass, knocking out a customarily durable guy like Pedro Guevara in 3 rounds. And do you think, Ronnie, because he looked so good in the co-main event, that further maybe it made Jaron's performance look that much worse? Does that happen in boxing sometimes when you're
It
there?
happens all the time that the co-main steals the spotlight. This ain't the first time it didn't happen, and it's not going to be the last time it happens. The thing about it is, Bam, I think next time they're going to realize that Bam deserves his own show. Yeah, he's
yes, and not in Philly.
Yeah,
Damn.
not in Philly. No, he belongs, in San Antonio, man.
Yep.
That's where he needs to be. Look, this kid, he proves himself every fight. And yes, he's in the pound for pound rankings, but still, these small guys don't get the recognition that they deserve. That's always been the case in boxing. You just don't get it, man. And it's a shame that these guys don't get the recognition. But Bam deserves his own show. He deserves to be, he deserves to be in the spotlight. So I think his next fight definitely should be the headliner in San Antonio.
Yep. And I tell you what Eddie Hearn is pushing for. Now, guys, this would be absolutely epic. Bam Rodriguez versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, buried in the undercard in Saudi Arabia. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. That's a San Antonio fight, brother.
Absolutely, man.
Man, Eddie needs to stay in the UK. Yep. Now we're talking at least 20,000 fans in the Alamo Dome, Coach.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Maybe more.
Yep. I was being humble. I think it's close to 30. Now look, come on. If Chavez Jr. versus John Duddy can put 35,000 in the Alamo Dome, come on.
Man, look, people will show up and show out for a Bam fight at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, man. They would. And it's a shame that they're not doing that, man. That's, it's undermining the kid because his hard work, and he's just so good at what he does. And, he's a showman, man. That's what people want to see.
Yep.
People pay for that, man.
Yep.
And, but, you go bury him in Saudi Arabia for what?
Yep.
Those people don't know. Those people, it's entertainment for them.
Yep.
It's not, they're not boxing fans. They're entertainment fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
All fights in Saudi Arabia aren't great fights. I mean, it's good because, guys get a chance to make money, of course, but you can make money here also.
Yeah.
They just trying to downplay it. You can't downplay this kid's career, man. He's so good that he deserves to be the main event in San Antonio on a huge show. You could build everything around him because, people love this kid in San Antonio. And they need to show that. It's simple, man.
Yep. And, in my opinion, he needs to leave matchroom sport. No disrespect to Eddie Hearn or our brother Kevin Rooney Jr. Love Kevin. But come on, man. Leave Eddie Hearn. Sign with Top Rank. He's a co-promoter with Mr. Honda in Tekken boxing. And those are the fights you want to make anyway, inevitably.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Come on, man. You want to make Junto Nakatani. You want to make Naoya Inoue. Those are your biggest money fights. Sign with Top Rank. Get out of there, because I guarantee you, Bob loves San Antonio. I remember last time he was here, he got hammered at a steak place called Bohannon's with Artie Palulo and I. Did I say that out loud on the air? I wasn't supposed to. Yeah. But that was about, you know what? That was the weekend where you guys were competing in the Alamo Dome. You had Brian Vera. That was an Artie Palulo fighter. Yeah, and he had Chavez. Yeah. So, that's why, anyway, we were doing Shot 30, man. That was back in the good old days. Woo!
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, man. He was like, hey, let me tell you something, Artie. No hard feelings if my guy whoops your guy's ass. And Artie was like, well, we'll see what happens because my guy got robbed in the last fight, if you don't remember, Bob. Oh, well, tomato.
That's Bob.
Oh, that was, dude, what a fun evening. Dude, I
Yeah.
can't believe that was in 2014, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, you were in the corner of Brian the Warrior Vera. What a warrior he was, too, man.
Yes.
Credit
indeed.
to the sport. Always great. It gave us great memories. Where were we? We're on number 3 now. Fact or fiction?
All right, here we go. No one will defeat Bam Rodriguez at 154 pounds. No one. Fact or fiction?
Do we have to say anything more about that, Coach?
No, let's leave it alone right there.
Now, it's very clear in putting it in big letters. Like, honestly, yeah, this kid is already, I hate to say this, Tank Davis, but he already has a better resume than you also. Holy shnikes. Now, I love Tank Davis. He's a great fighter. He's one of the best fighters in boxing, obviously the best at 35. But I'm going to say it. Bam Rodriguez already has a better resume than Tank Davis. Am I lying about that, Coach?
No, not at all, man.
Oof.
Not at all.
Chingao. And if he adds Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez to that, he could already retire and be in the Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
Tell you what, guys. Tell you what, this is a great fighter, and he's only seemingly just beginning. So buckle up. Now let's move on to number 4. Oh, boy. Here we go with the main event of the evening, Big James.
Number 4. Iron Mike Tyson will quit on stool. Listen, come on, man. I'm not doing that. I'm not quitting. No, but Iron Mike Tyson will quit on his stool after the 4th round of action, and Jake Paul will call out Canelo Alvarez post-victory. Fact or fiction?
Oh man,
I know.
Fiction. It's hard.
Oh, fingers crossed, Coach. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I man, at 58 years old, it's tough. And it's, although Jake Paul is not really a fighter, a real boxer per se, but, if Mike don't get him before 4 rounds, I see the last 4 rounds tough for Mike.
Yeah.
I do. I see the last 4 rounds being tough. The
Yeah.
thing is, Mike still has his power. But if he goes too hard early, that's going to take away from him later. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you don't catch him. If you can't get him, after 2-3 rounds, it's going to be tough for Mike, because now, you got a younger guy throwing punches at you. Although just punches has no direction. They keep coming from anywhere and everywhere, and, it's going to be tough for Mike. And if Jake Paul know how to throw body shots, that's really going to make it hard on Mike. So I think Mike has to do it within 4 rounds. Otherwise, I don't see him going the whole way. So I got to say fact.
Oh, boy. Now to the second part of it, Coach.
Well, you could definitely call Canelo Alvarez out all he wants. But I just hope that for boxing's sake that they don't make boxing really look like it's not a sport anymore.
Vaudeville?
Yeah.
WWF?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I think we're certainly getting away from the sport when we even doing these YouTubers and all of these guys now, and these guys coming in and making all this money, and the real fighters are not,
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it's happening that way, but that's the way it is now. So we have to accept that. But I just hope that, you know, the top guys that really means a lot to the sport, they understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll tell you what, James, do you have anything to add to that or anything to ask Coach Ronnie about the upcoming fight this Friday?
I mean, my thing is, as he said in reference to those first 4 rounds, how Tyson will be in his first 4 rounds, but then after that, if it gets past that 4, then he'll be in real trouble. Did see something recently with another one of Coach Ronnie's former fighters there in Evander Holyfield. When he fought recently. So, that's the one concern that I have in reference to Mike Tyson now coming up on Friday night.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm still having shade. Like, I honestly, that was like staring at the sun, Coach, when we saw Evander Holyfield fight that MMA dude. I even forgot his name, but that was downright sinful. Like, honestly, I was downright sacrilegious, and I hated watching it. And I even called you, and I said, Ronnie, you going to watch the fight? Hell no, you told me. Oh, that was a sad day. That was a sad day. But, Coach, just to give us some background, boy, you were in, that was an absolute media circus when you trained Mike Tyson. What is it like being in a camp with Iron Mike Tyson? And what did he tell you when I'll never forget that circus, that farce where he went after and he just screamed all those obscenities, calling a dude a pride flag waving dude. And do you remember that, Coach?
I remember some of it.
Yeah. And he goes, and Lennox, after that kerfuffle, right, said, you know what? He bit Holyfield's ear, and I think he wanted to bite my willy. What did you ever have a talk? Because that's why they had to move the fight to Memphis. Did you ever have a talk with Iron Mike about that kerfuffle?
See,
and I'm being nice when I call it that.
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that because you got to remember I was training Vernon Forrest to fight Shane.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And they was on the press tour, and I was with Vernon, because we was getting ready to fight Shane, and I didn't go. I met them in Hawaii a week after that. So so I wasn't there for that.
Oh boy. So what is it like training with Iron Mike Tyson? Is he really worked that hard as the videos that we're seeing now? Does he really bust his ass like that in the gym?
He does. He really does. And you got to understand, man, Mike Tyson is a student of the game. I mean, it surprised the hell out of me. I watch video and we watch tape of every damn heavyweight that ever fought. And I'm talking about for the 1900s.
Yep.
Wow.
Me and him, I sit in there with him. I was sitting in there like 4 or 5 hours a day in his room, and we watched. He took something from everybody, which was great, man. I mean, I thought that was so good, because he took something from everybody, every heavyweight, whether they was big, they was small, from Rocky Marciano to Joe Frazier to George Foreman to everybody. He took something from everybody, and that's just his nature, man. And I talked to other people who've been in camp with him before, and they say, "Oh yeah, man, that's all he does is watch tape. The dude don't watch TV. He watched video of all these old fights to see what he can take from them." And in the gym, man, I mean, you have to stop him from working because he wants to just continue to keep on. And I told him, I said, "Man, have you ever heard of overtraining?" He said, "Yeah, man, but I mean, I got to get it right. I got to, he's like a perfectionist. He want to make sure, the head movement is right. It's got to be a certain way he moves that head to set up his power punch, which is his left hook,
Mm.
and his uppercuts. You know, I mean, it's got to be perfect, because if you're a little bit off balance, if he's off balance, it's gonna, he's liable to get knocked down because he's off balance trying to throw hard shots. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. Being in the gym with him. I mean, it really is. It was a great experience for me.
Yeah, I tell you what, and being in that corner, it was awesome seeing you chew that ass. It's like, dude, that's the first time I ever heard you scream at somebody, Ronnie. Hey, can you describe what was going on in between rounds?
But it was more not screaming, more boy, Mike, it's the others that was in the corner too. Because everybody's trying to talk at the same time. And, when you do that, you don't hear anybody, So it's got to be one voice in the corner. And
yeah, just ask Tyson Fury.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a good one to ask.
But yeah, I'll never forget it. You told everyone to shut the F up.
Yeah, I had to, because everybody was screaming, man. And like I told him, I said, he's not hearing nothing, because we're all trying to say the same thing and talk at the same time, and we're saying different things to him. That's confusing to a fighter. He don't deserve that.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is confuse your fighter, especially when he's facing Lennox Lewis.
Absolutely.
Oof, that jab, man. Holy shit. And that uppercut. Yeah, Lennox. Oof, chingao. Yeah. Oh, you know what, Toby? Yes, it was Victor Belfort. You know what? Why don't you just give me a nice paper cut and pour some lemon juice on it? Why don't you, brother? Chingao, man. And yeah, you can ask Teddy Atlas that question. Yeah. But I don't think Teddy would have given you that kind of answer that Ronnie did. Ronnie, I'll tell you what, once again, this is great prep for the Mike Tyson fight, and I love hearing about all the stories. So thank you for that, Coach Ronnie. And yeah, Toby's he's laughing at the Lennox Lewis Willie comment, right? I think you wanted to bite my wheelie. Now, the one thing I couldn't understand is Lennox, like, it made him seem so damn arrogant and corny. Like the things he used to come up with. You remember that? And I'm like, dude, really? He's like, you know what? Lennox is the best. No man test. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? No man test.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm a 5-dimensional fighter. And you know what? He's just a 2-dimensional fighter. He can't challenge me. No man test. I'm like, shut up, Lennox. You sound corny as hell, dude. What'd you say, James?
I said extremely corny.
All right, brother. Here we go. We're moving on, guys. Number 5.
Mario Barrios will put forth a career best performance this Friday against Abel Ramos, scoring a wide UD12 and retaining his WBC 147-pound strap. Factor friction.
Oh, this is a tough one. It could be both. So, look, no matter how good a performance he put on, it's got to be great. It can't be just good, because Ramos, he's is a big, strong southpaw.
Yep.
This kid can really fight. But I do like Barrios in this fight. I think Barrios can outpoint him, but he's going to have to be in the best shape of his life, because Ramos is coming with both hands, and this is good. This is going to be a tough fight, man. For both of them. Barrios he's a good boxer. He's not a power puncher, but Ramos is, and Ramos can hurt you with both hands. And being a southpaw that can really shoot that right hook the way he throws it, and then the left hand comes right behind it. Barrios can't get hit with back-to-back punches. Otherwise, it's going to be bad news for him. But, but Ramos, he's a late starter. So Barrios got to take advantage of the early rounds. He got to really, he can't let after 6 rounds, he can't let it be like 3-3. You know,
Oh boy. Yeah.
Then he's in trouble if it's a
Mhm.
3-3 after 6 rounds, because Ramos comes on after that. He's a second half fighter, and and big and strong as he is, Barrios, he need like 5-1, 6-0 lead, going to the second half, because it's going to be
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. You know what? And James, remind me to call you later on after the show, because I found out what these guys are making on Friday night.
Gotcha.
Can you, look, I'll tell you after the show, so it can be a rumor mill, but it's a fact mill this time, brother. Like, seriously. And I honestly, it's shocking. Netflix, boy, they are paying out a lot of money for this event.
It's Netflix. You can just say that.
Look, dude, it's Netflix. And look, Barrios, this is his big opportunity. Let me just, dude, he better show up for the kind of green that he's making.
Oh,
I'll tell you off the air, Ronnie, and you guys can read about it on theboxingsource.net. We'll talk about that later in the week, the closer we get to the fight, and it'll be revealed, and it's going to be shocking to all of you guys. Now, once again, Ronnie, how much do you think Mario Barrios? And once again, he's not even the co-main event. Just take a guess how much you think he's making for this fight against Abel Ramos, defending his WBC title in Dallas, not even his hometown. How much do you think he's making?
I would guess about $1.5 million.
Higher. And once again, guys, you'll read all about it on the fact mill, the rumor mill on boxingsource.net, guys, later on. But you know what? It's shocking, Ronnie, because you would think, and you're actually being generous when you say $1.5 million.
Yep.
I am.
Yeah. But guys, shocking. Netflix, and this is what I'm saying, guys, if this is a big hit, both critically and monetarily for Netflix, right? Because they're expecting a global audience of over 40 million from what I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this sizzles on the big stage, if Mike Tyson can do the unthinkable and deliver a knock out the problem child, whoop his ass. Oh my gosh, that would be the purging of everything, Ronnie, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Oh, come on, Mike.
Social media will be on lockdown. You might not be able to.
I love it. Come on, Mike. Do it. One for the giver, brother. Woo! Yes. I'll tell you what, guys, we're moving on. Oh, we still have a lot to do. We still have a lot to cover.
Oh,
Big James.
God. Oh, goodness. Teofimo
Come on, brother.
Lopez will once again price himself out of a matchup opposite Devin Miles Haney, and the self-proclaimed Dream will instead face Trans. Oh my God! Come on, man! You didn't say this, man.
I did, and you know what? That's what he gets. That's what he gets. Hey, brother, you want to act that way? Then that's what you get.
Oh,
and honestly, I'd be rooting for him on Khalif.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I said it. Yes, I said it. There it is. So look, disregard that second part. Because we all know that's not going to happen. Or would it? No, I'm kidding. Disregard that. So the first part, Coach Ronnie, because it's been reported by Forbes and other sources that Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney are currently in negotiations. And isn't that like the most laughable thing that you've ever heard, Coach?
Oh, without a doubt.
Like talk about two prima donnas. Yeah. Dude, can you imagine what that's like? That's like a divorce mediation. That's what that's like.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Two delusional prima donnas.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way this fight gets made, Ronnie.
No, there's no way. I don't see it. Because they both want to make more than the other.
Yep.
And because they think that one is better than the other. Of course, they think that. But as far as the gate is concerned and the pay-per-view is concerned, they think that they're the top. They're at the top, and they're not. Simple.
Yep.
David Haney only did great against Ryan Garcia because of Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
And other than that, he didn't do anything on pay-per-view.
Exactly.
And Teofimo Lopez the same way. So they're not going to do anything, with each other, and people are still talking bad about Haney right now for all the stuff that happened when he fought Ryan Garcia. So,
and also the lawsuit.
Yeah, definitely a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Definitely
So it's
a
like,
lawsuit.
hey man, anyone have change for $1? Shit.
Yeah.
Because let's just face it, guys, and these idiots, they're gonna price themselves out.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, can
No
you
doubt.
imagine what the negotiations would be like with you and these two knuckleheads?
Oh shit. No.
So hey, Devin, get ready for Amon Khalif on BLK Prime, brother.
Oh no, man.
Chingao, man. He probably has a bigger Adam's apple and a bigger than Devin. Woo! Yeah, I said it.
Oh my
That's
God.
right, I said it. And there it is. There it is, guys.
Oh.
James, is it time to move on from this?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, number 7. Dude, James is gonna lose his beef mac, brother. If I keep on going on around Amon Khalif Chingao. Can you believe we're not having the Olympics because of that?
Yeah,
He thing?
That's crazy.
Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, as you were, James. My apologies, sir.
Tevin Farmer will shock the world, outpoint William Zepeda to a split decision victory, and spoil Zepeda's big money bout with Shakur Stevenson. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. I don't see it. Tevin
Yeah.
Farmer is a good fighter, but I think Zepeda is much better.
Yeah. It's just not the right time for Tevin, huh?
No, not yet. No, definitely.
But do you think that this is great preparation for seemingly imminent Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you got to give Zepeda props for taking a fight like this, and because he's trying to help himself,
Yep.
and this is what fighters do. You got to help yourself, so you got to take fights that are good fights, but you got to prepare yourself for a guy like a Shakur Stevenson. So this is great fight for him. Absolutely.
Great job by Eric Gomez, Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, great job. This is great matchmaking.
Yes,
and we'll see what happens this Saturday, guys, in Saudi Arabia. Let's move on, guys. We're running out of time. Let's move on to the next one.
All right.
Number 8, Big James.
Eddie Hearn will demand a 50-foot by 50-foot ring when he faces Oscar De La Hoya on February 22nd in Saudi Arabia. Fact or fiction?
That's fact. That might not be big enough, though. He might need to.
Chingao. Like, Ronnie, come on. I know they're trying to promote this upcoming February card.
Yeah.
But come on. Enough is enough, guys. Like, why are they even talking about this? Oscar saying he genuinely wants to kick Eddie Hearn's ass. And to add insult to injury, he goes, yeah, I'm going to prepare for 2 months to really whoop Eddie Hearn's ass. And Eddie Hearn responds, wow, 2 months for little old me. I feel flattered. I feel honored. And I'm like, guys, this is enough. Enough is enough, guys. We know you guys aren't going to fight. Like, could you imagine that? Like,
No.
they honestly, they would try him and try to convict him for assault. Is that just not right?
Yeah.
Oscar would whoop his ass so bad. Like, dude, honestly, that's illegal.
And did you hear that Oscar sold The Ring magazine, the turkey out of shape.
That's right. He sure did. And honestly, I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I love it. No more Michael Montero writing for the Ring. Yeah. Hey, James, you had to feel good reading about that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's
I
out of the
might,
plate with that. So
I might have to start contributing to the Ring again. I might have to dust the boots off and start writing again, brother. What say you?
hey, why
Telling you,
not?
man.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I look, as soon as they hired Mike, look, no offense, but as soon as they hired Michael Montero, yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm done with the Ring. That guy's a hack. That guy's a hack, a failed actor who doesn't know shit about boxing. Yes, I said it. Thank you very much. Ching Gao, dude. Let's move on, guys, because I don't have anything more to say about that guy. But I will say this: I think it's interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. And once again, the biggest ray of hope here is it just goes to show that Turkey Al Sheikh is in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of that news. Him
Absolutely.
buying the ring. Now, look, guys, and once again, it's pretty obvious now how we got Latin Night in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
You think he leveraged that Ring magazine? You think he leveraged that with the Latin Night in Saudi Arabia, coach?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
You should.
Hey, Turkey. Chingao. I'll tell you what, I can't wait to hear Clapback Thursday. Can't wait to see what he has to say about this. So anyway, number 9, Big James.
Quick. Maybe I should face Michael Montero in the 10-foot by 10-foot ring. All right, Deontay Wilder.
No. Hey, you know what, brother? I would pay to see you guys fight in a 5-foot by 5-foot, brother. Chingao. One of those Chris Bird training rings that he used to have. Remember that? Little shoebox.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love to see you put one on him, brother. Anyway, as you were, James.
Deontay Wilder is back to making excuses for his shortcomings in the ring.
Yeah. Woo!
I'm gonna say fiction.
Oh, boo!
I'm gonna say fiction for my boy Deontay. I
Yeah.
like Deontay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, man, you know, you get a certain age and people want to, you know, they want to knock you down. They want to knock out, drag you out. You say next, you know, put the next generation in. But, you know, if he thinks as a fighter, you know, you have to know as a fighter what you have left. You know, you can't let anyone else tell you that, you know, you can't do this anymore. You know, you have to know it as a fighter. And if you care about yourself, then you're not going to go out there and take punishment for anybody, you know. So you gotta feel it, you know, if you're willing to do the work that you have to put into this, you know, in this sport, then, you know, it's your body. You have to do it for yourself. And, you know, with fighters, you know, you have to know your body is going to tell you, you know, you done done enough to me. It's it. That's it. And maybe he haven't felt that yet. So, you know, and until he does, you know, he's going to continue.
Oh boy. James, you have anything to add?
I mean, with Wilder,
Or ask Ronnie anything?
No, I say with Wilder, I mean, he's, you know, recovering from, I guess, an arm injury or shoulder injury. So, you know, will be some time before he like properly returns to the ring. But he still, you know, kind of, you know, has that type of confidence within him. But, you know, over this past year, he's gone through a lot, you know, inside the ring and outside the ring. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him going into 2025.
So this is what he said to TMZ Sports, guys. He said this quote, "I broke my arm way back in November sometime. I didn't even know. I had 2 tears on my shoulder. I could feel the pain, but I just thought it was old injuries. But I got an MRI and everything was all messed up there. I didn't know because I've got a high tolerance for pain."
Oh, wow.
And that's what he said. He said he fought with an injured arm with 2 tears in his last 2 fights against Zhilei Zhang and Joseph Parker, respectively.
Wow.
Ronnie, do you believe it? Or is this just more trickery and more excuses from the Bronze Bomber?
I mean, I don't see why he would lie about it, you know. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, pain is pain.
Water tampering,
but
glove gate, ayahuasca. I don't know.
you know,
I don't know. Well,
think-
look, I will say this, Coach Ronnie.
Go ahead.
Now he's interested in fighting Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, that's probably a good fight for him because Ngannou's not a boxer,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, and he figured, hey, man, Joshua did it, so why not me?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Oh boy. James, do you have anything to add to that? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Moving on. Here we go. Number 10, final fact or fiction of the evening. Woo!
Right. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez will compete in a Fight of the Year candidate this Saturday and drop a controversial split decision to Chris Billam-Smith in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Fact or fiction?
Woo!
You know, that could be a fact. That could be a fact.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know. This could be a really close fight, but
Yep.
you know, I don't know how too many people that's really talking a whole lot about this. You know, I
Yeah,
don't think
Coach.
a lot of people don't care about this, especially he's going to rehab. You know, why? You know, I mean, I don't understand it, but you know, I mean, I don't think it matters to too many people.
Yeah, honestly, Coach, I can't believe the lack of buzz for this. Why
Yeah.
would they schedule this the day after Mike Tyson, Jake Paul?
Yeah, that's it's all
And in Saudi Arabia, where there's
Yeah.
no American media covering it.
right. And that's why people aren't going to watch it because people not even know about it. You know,
Yeah,
everybody is all hyped up about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, you know what, guys? This is and this is a great card. This is a great card in the co-main event. We've got Jose Ramirez versus Arnold Barbosa.
Yeah,
We got Williams Aveda versus Tevin Farmer. We've got the return of Oscar Goyazo, who's going to be facing a last-minute opponent from Thailand. And those guys are always in great shape.
yeah.
Like they're in the condition to fight 30 rounds. So you can't,
Yes, indeed.
once again, this is interesting. And so I really like this card. And then you've got Oscar Duarte. Who's going to be in the ring again. I really like this card, but yeah, crickets, Coach.
Yeah,
Crickets.
absolutely.
Yeah, what's a damn shame. But guys, that's just gonna about do it. James, did I forget to cover anything today?
No, that should be all right there with those 10.
Yeah, very good, brother. Coach Ronnie, is there anything else that we forgot to cover? Anything you'd like to bring up or promote at this time?
Yeah, I got my kid next week. Andre Cascavac is fighting Brendan Adams in the finals of the tournament next week. It's going to be on the zone, so everybody watch it. It's going to be a great fight, and my guy's ready. Andreas is a great fighter, and you're going to see he's very excited.
Outstanding. And we can't wait. After you win this tournament, we can't wait to feature Andreas Katz back on the air. One of the
Absolutely.
best guys you'll meet in this business and one of
Yes,
the
indeed.
top prospects in all of boxing. And W.A.W, welcome to the show, sir. He says this. Yeah, I got Khalif by second round left hook KO. And there it is.
Of
There it
course.
is. Woo! Oh, poor Dre. I think he's the butt of everyone's joke these days, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And he's still going to be asking for greater than $5 million against Teofimo Lopez.
Hey,
Chihuahua.
absolutely.
What is going on? These purses are weird, like ridiculous high. Like, do you remember when people bragging about, oh, I got the Floyd Mayweather sweepstakes? I'm going to be his next opponent, and I'm making $3 million.
Yeah.
Now, guys who can't sell out anything are asking for $5 and $6 million, Coach.
Yeah, man. They think they worth it.
Speaking of which, guys, you go once again, read all about it later on or tomorrow. TheBoxingSource.net for all of the purses for this Friday's event, care of Netflix. Holy shnikes. I think we need to go work for Netflix, Coach. What say you?
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah. James, your parting shots for tonight, sir.
Yeah, rather be beaten. Ariel Helwani.
Chingo. Oh, dude. Yeah, dude, he's a night. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm going to plead the fifth, brother, on that one. And there it is. Oh, Chingo. James, I tell you what, brother, you are a warrior covering those two events back-to-back nights. I bet you're ready for a nap, aren't you, brother? Especially after your feedback, brother.
Look at
Huh? Oh,
yeah.
Well, wait till you're our age. Wait till you're our age,
my goodness.
James.
Oh.
Chingo. Yeah, you'd be calling sick, man, for 2 days straight.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you what, I couldn't handle that. That's why I don't work the beat anymore, brother. I can't handle that kind of schedule. Forget that, especially if you're working like a Saudi card. Dude, those 8 or 9 hour cards.
Oh, no. I'm not doing that. No. Oh, no.
Forget it. I'm watching the fight and I'm covering it from my home. That's it.
Mm-mm.
But anyway, Coach Ronnie, your parting shots for our listening audience here.
Yes, continue to watch Warwick Radio, and you can always follow me at official Ronnie Shields on Instagram.
Guys, on behalf of J.R. Bell and the incomparable boxing legend,
Affordable Ventures proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer Ronnie Shields.